We have covered the work of Walter S. Masterman in episode 390. Today we will cover his 1930 The Yellow Mistletoe, another entry on Karl Edward Wagner's list of 39 best horror novels. Reverend George Shepherd is making his way down these stairs at a London tube station when he is suddenly found down the stairs dead, yet without anything broken at all. A doctor is on site and examines the dead man before going to Scotland Yard to Superintendent Elliot. The man, it seems, had sent a letter to the Yard saying he would come to discuss something very important. Present in the room with Elliot is our good friend from the Flying Beast, Sir Arthur Sinclair, who snubs the doctor's attempt to be useful and sends him on his way. Then, when the two go through the dead man's things, Sinclair finds a note which has him anxious to write over to Skipton and warn the family of what had passed. A note speaking of the powers of evil targeting the dead parson's children. He finds Ronald, the son of Shepherd's first wife, along with Diana, the daughter of his mysterious second wife. Ronald was just about to leave for the Athens Hotel to obey a mysterious telegram sent in his father's name when the man himself was already dead. Sinclair takes Ronald to the Athens Hotel anyway, and grills him over his missing friend Carstairs, who had a mysterious interview with Ronald's father just before his death. Carstairs shows up at the lunch and gives Sinclair a story of a covert proposal for Diana's hand. In the meantime, Ronald and Diana move in with their Uncle Reginald, who is after a baronetcy and wants Diana introduced at court, with the help of the insufferable sponge Mrs. Goring. Diana and Ronald meet her children, Ralph and Doris, but before long the former proprietor of the Athens Hotel Ganzani breaks into Reginald's house and demands to pay £50,000 to buy Diana. Ronald kicks him down the stairs, but the price was left behind along with a package of vellum inscribed with ancient Greek characters saying that he who signs it will do battle for Diana's hands according to ancient custom. Reginald, taken ill, tells Ronald that Diana is not even his half-sister, but that his mother disappeared for some time and came back with a child. This makes Ronald realize he actually loves Diana, despite literally having grown up together as siblings their whole lives. They don't tell Diana, but Reginald says he'll write a full account tomorrow. You can guess what happens. He never regains consciousness. During this whole time, the symbol of the golden mistletoe keeps popping up, including at the Athens Hotel, which was actually owned by Carstairs the entire time. Sinclair says he must go abroad, and that they must guard Diana at all times and never leave her alone. You can guess what happens. After Diana's inevitable abduction, Ronald, Doris and Ralph decide to go look for her after they find out she was seen leaving the country with Carstairs. Sinclair shows up and tells them not to. And you can guess what happens. The lot travel to Lake Nemi, and Ronald meets an old clergyman who knew his father and sheltered Diana's mother when she appeared out of nowhere pregnant and seemingly insane, before Reverend Shepherd took her with him to Britain. He also tells Ronald of the survival of pagan worship driven away from Lake Nemi in the early Middle Ages. Following his advice, they travel to Bulgaria, where Ronald and Ralph are briefly imprisoned in a secret monastery, whose abbot is immured alive in front of them for showing them the originals of the Gospels, until they are saved by some brigands who bring them to the secret people, whose goddess Diana has become. She and Carstairs, brother and sister, are from a sacred priestly family that have ruled the people since coming to the lake in ancient times, with Carstairs bringing her back by force. There are a lot of complicated reasons why he brought them too, tied to the cult of the Rex Nemorensis, the priest-king of the sacred grove who would be killed and replaced by his murderer. Ganzani is hacked to bits alive and screaming in front of Ronald and Diana as a sacrifice, and the deformed beastly King Orestes is killed by Ronald in single combat, before a lot of armed Bulgarians show up with Sinclair to save the day. The ending is marred by another twist villain reveal, which seems to be Masterman's MO, but the reveal of a tertiary henchman is really underwhelming. The secret lake is not as interesting as the build-up leading up to it, and the monastery segment was entirely superfluous, but it's a lot better of a payoff than the Flying Beast, and overall I was not disappointed.